What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Earn It, Save and Invest It. I've been breaking down the Novo versus HIMS lawsuit. In the last video, I broke it down extensively. I went through the whole lawsuit. This video, I'm going to break it down very simple. So any kind of just retail investor, any kind of person who is interested in the lawsuit, interested in buying or selling these stocks, can quickly understand what's going down between Novo and HIMS. So if you can, please give it a like and subscribe. I'm going to make this a quick video for everybody because no one wants to sit through that long, right? Going through all the lawsuit stuff. So let's just go through it really quickly. All right, so we have Novo versus HIMS. I'm going to go through what Novo is suing for, what HIMS is doing, and who will win the lawsuit, in my opinion. Because just want to put that clear. I'm not a lawyer. I am not credentialed. I'm none of that. I'm just going to base it off what I'm seeing. Novo, this is what they're suing for. They're suing for patent infringement, right, of the semaglutide, claiming that HIMS cannot compound semaglutide, false advertisement by HIMS using terms same active ingredient as Wegovy. So this is essentially what they are suing them for, right? The patent infringement by HIMS compounding the semaglutide, and then also the false advertisement that they have been doing, right? So we're going to go through that. Now, HIMS is essentially just defending their compounding process with the legal exception of using prescriptions and personalization. Now, I'm going to break this down again really quickly, but so that it's very easy to understand. This all started February 5th. I mean, it's been going on for about a year, but it really took off February 5th when HIMS and hers announced their weight loss compounded semaglutide pills starting at $49 a month. And as you can see, it says with the same active ingredient as Wegovy. That's what's really pissing off Novo. I think that's the one that's setting them overboard. Obviously, that yes, HIMS is taking a part of their pie by doing this without them and stuff. But I believe HIMS is doing it legally, and I'm going to explain why. But just putting out same active ingredient as Wegovy really caught the attention, of course, of Novo, even more so. Right after that, the FDA comes out saying they intend to take action against non-FDA approved GLP-1 drugs. Right, so they're announcing that the FDA is announcing intent to take decisive steps to restrict the active GLP-1 for use in non-FDA compounded drugs being mass marketed by companies including HIMS and hers. Right, so HIMS and hers is directly being targeted by Novo and FDA. Right, and in their complaint, right, this is right off the top of the lawsuit, patent infringement. Right, building on decades of research and billions of dollars invested, Novo Nordisk has been a pioneer at the forefront of research studying a class of molecules known as basically GLP-1s. I'm not a scientist, I'm not going to go into all that, right? This case concerns Novo Nordisk's discovery and development of a particular GLP-1 molecule called semaglutide. Now, from that standpoint, okay, yeah, Novo, you invested a lot of money into it, right? You figured all this out. I get that, right? Novo Nordisk intellectual property, including U.S. patent 8 million, whatever, right? Protects semaglutide and the pharmaceutical products containing it, in which Novo Nordisk developed through intensive research and development. Okay, they have an IP, it's protected. That makes sense, right? Other pharmaceutical companies that wish to develop and make generic semaglutide products have applied for FDA approval for their proposed generic products, and in doing so filed with the FDA required certifications as to Novo Nordisk intellectual property. Now, I want this to be very clear. This is the lawsuit. To me, this is where the lawsuit lands. This is where I think is the big one. Because if you see it right here, to develop what? What kind? A generic, right? And their proposed generic products. Just keep this in mind. Keep that name. Just keep that word in mind. Generic. And then again, right here, and this is again number 48. They have a lot of parts of the lawsuit. They said again, same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy. Once daily pill with the same active ingredient as Wegovy. So they're showing them that, hey, you're putting our brand up there and it's not the same active ingredient. It is a different way of doing it, but so the advertising is wrong. That was wrong. And so Novo is saying, as a result, with the deliberate and willful infringement, Novo Nordisk is entitled to enhanced damages. Right? It has caused and will continue to cause irreparable harm to Novo Nordisk unless and then till such infringement is enjoined by this court. They're saying they cannot compound. They cannot even use that drug anymore unless it's approved by us. Remedies that laws are inadequate to compensate for the injury, warranting an injunction. Simply saying, we want them to stop doing it, stop making it. So now this is going to be HIMS's case right here, right? I should have put a little HIMS case text on here, but I'm just going to show you. This is where HIMS is going to be making their case. There's these laws, these exceptions, 503A and 503B, right? They regulate the compounding pharmacies with the key difference, right? So 503A, just to make this really clear, 503A it handles patient specific, right? It's about patient specific, right? These pharmacies are making the drugs together and doing the drugs for patients. 503B is like a bigger facility where they're doing it for like hospitals, right? And bigger clients like that. So there is a difference. So HIMS is relying on 503A, and this is just a law. This is a law that's been, it doesn't matter what, as you can see, it's not saying GLP-1 on any of this. This is just simply about any drug. 503A compounding pharmacies, which is what HIMS does. Patient-specific medications based on a prescription, not required to register with the FDA, and unique patients need like specific flavors, concentration, or allergy friendly, right? There's all different kinds of things that people might need. They want it specific to their body. Specific, not generic, right? This is where it's really going to be. The 503 compounding pharmacies for the large batches, as long as they're not using 503B for the semaglutide, they're okay. If HIMS is using 503B facilities for the semaglutide, then it will be a problem. But as long as they're using 503A, they're safe because, again, patient-specific medications based on a prescription. Here's more about 503A, right? It applies to traditional patient-specific compounding, not large-scale commercial manufacturing, right? When you go into HIMS, you get a prescription and you say, based on my needs, based on this and that, right? I'm getting my drug with this much. And so it is patient-specific prescription. The conditions, it has to be compounded by a licensed pharmacist or physician, of course, but based on a valid prescription for a specific patient. Limited quantities may be prepared in anticipation of prescriptions and cannot regularly compound copies of commercially available drugs. That's where they're saying, you made an essential copy with the pill, right? That's where, okay, that would have been illegal if they had continued to go on. They announced it, they didn't. Now, it's a little confusing on why they would do that, if they probably knew that that was going to be illegal, so I'm just confused on exactly HIMS's intention of announcing that, because were they really going to sell it? I just don't know. But again, it might have been, I don't know if that pill was going to be a personalized pill at all either, right? Again, Novo is talking generic pills, right? So HIMS says Novo lawsuit over Wegovy patent is a blatant attack, right? They called it a blatant attack over the IP rights, a blatant attack targeting millions of Americans who rely on compounded medications for access to personalized care. That's where this is all going. So Novo versus HIMS, who's going to win the battle, right? Again, this is my opinion. I think Novo wins the battle. HIMS wins the war. I think Novo is going to win on, if HIMS ever sold the generic version after the shortage was lifted, HIMS will get a slap on the wrist for that. HIMS will get a slap on the wrist for advertising same active ingredient as Wegovy. They're going to get a slap on the wrist. As long as they don't do it anymore, as long as it's still not on their site, it's okay. If you go on their site, it's not there anymore. But the compounding, being able to still sell this medication, this drug, HIMS, I believe, again, I am no lawyer, I just do believe that HIMS is going to win this battle, because you can clearly see, it was one of the top, let me go back to it, I don't know exactly which one, it was number 3, right here, generic semaglutide, generic products. HIMS is not selling the generic version. Now, did they offer it at some point? Yes. Did they offer it in the pill? Yeah. Now, I don't know exactly if that pill version was going to be a generic version or if they can compound the pill as well. but they only offered it for 1 or 2 days. And did anyone even really take it, right? As much as you can get in trouble for it, you almost just stopped it. You immediately did the lawsuit. So now you can't really get any damages from the pill didn't do any damage to Novo. Didn't do anything. In fact, it probably just boosted everyone's exposure to it, right? HIMS announcing this, them doing the lawsuit, all this stuff. So now it's just getting them exposure. HIMS took it off the market. So now everyone has to go, right? You didn't actually get any damages. The only damages that are being done is through the compounding, which you're essentially saying you want to change the law. The law is the law. If people need a prescription and they get it through they need it, their medication personalized, they're allowed to do that. It doesn't matter if you have a patent on it or not. Right? That's what it says to me. So, again, I just want to make it clear. Give a like and subscribe. I am not a lawyer. I have no credentials in that way. But I'm just by seeing, I read through the whole lawsuit, and there wasn't really anything about the compounding as much. I know Novo wants to go after them because of they want to do the infringement, right? But there wasn't a lot about the compound. Now they did talk about, HIMS is influencing other pharmacies to do this and all that, right? But are we talking about their compounded prescription based? Like, it is confusing. Novo will absolutely, I think, lose to that. But if they're talking about just the generic version that they sold after the shortage was lifted, they absolutely have a case. But to what extent? How long did HIMS really sell the generic version, and how many did they sell the generic compared to the personalized, right? So this is where it's gonna get a little iffy, but I just believe that HIMS is gonna win the war. Novo may win the battle, but I think HIMS is gonna win the big war. It may take a good year or two for this to go out, but I'm telling you this right now, HIMS is not gonna stop selling. HIMS is not gonna stop selling their compounded version, and that, I think, tells you a lot. They feel confident. They immediately took that pill off the market. Immediately. But they haven't taken off their compounded prescription-based GLP-1s because they feel pretty confident that it's going to be it's legal, right? So, again, just my opinion. Take it however you want it. I am a shareholder. I want HIMS to go up. I want them to win this. But at the end of the day, if they are doing something illegal, they should get hit. I sell the stock. It is what it is, right? I'm not rooting for anybody. I'm rooting for, I like personalization, right? That's why, go ahead, talk all you want. I have an Android. I can do a little bit more with it. I can personalize it more, right? Apple was a little bit more, you're into their system and how they do it. So personalization, I do believe, is great. I do not believe in, especially medication, that one size fits all. That's just not the case, right? So why should we have just generic products and then, no. If HIMS is going to be focused on personalization, then they can do that. So I'm rooting for HIMS because I am a shareholder, and I do root for personalization. And I do believe Novo is kind of going after them bigger than what they should, but I also do understand Novo. You're a business, you spent billions of dollars researching this thing, you found it, and now other people are going to somehow find a way to make money off it. At the end of the day, though, Novo is making billions off it anyway. The patent does come public use in 2031, December. So December of 2031, anyone can use it. And generic semaglutide for everybody, right? So that is what it is. Go ahead, please give a like and subscribe again. I really appreciate everyone who's still watching. I always say be prepared, be aware and be prepared, but don't be scared, right? So I'm trying to be as aware and prepared for this lawsuit, and I'm not scared. I'm not scared because I am aware and I'm prepared, and I just think HIMS is going to win the war. So thank you for watching, everybody, and don't forget to earn it, save it, invest it, buy low, sell high. I want assets, not liabilities, and you can count on compounded interest.